All right. What's up, everybody? So we got a public service announcement, man. I need all of my followers to go follow this channel right here. This is Mr. Mirage, man. He just started his YouTube channel. And it's the truth, bro. This guy really knows boxing, man. I got to give it to this guy. It's cool because he be out here exposing people left and right and shit, man. Like a bunch of dumbass YouTubers that are just on here talking some nonsense. And this guy has a very clear way of explaining things and breaking things down that kind of, I hope it makes people understand, bro. Because if this guy can't make y'all understand, then I just don't know what else to say, man. But look, let's get into one of his videos. His channel is called Mr. Mirage, right? Go look that shit up and make sure to subscribe, man. All of my followers, go do that shit right now. So this latest video is called Why Didn't David Benavidez Enforce His Mandatory? And let's get into it, look.
Featuring one of YouTube's premier space cadets and taking a blowtorch to the delusional narratives he and his fellow astronauts have been polluting the boxing streets with for years. So let's welcome our good friend IBFP and see what sort of intergalactic nonsense he's cooked up this time.
But the WBC had approved a 2-week extension for you to choose the mandatory position at 168 or 175. You shouldn't need 2 weeks to determine whether you want to fight Canelo for mandatory or not.
So you see, he's over here exposing IBFP Diddy, right? Which isn't hard to do, man. IBFP Diddy, he's a fucking joke. I think he's the biggest joke in the boxing world on YouTube, right? And you know IBFP Diddy, he's over here talking about, he's the one, I've been telling everybody, bro, this guy's the one that started that whole why didn't Benavidez activate his mandatory. And he made that whole excuse and lie, and everybody ran with it, bro. This is what all the Canelo lovers use to try to somehow still convince themselves that David Benavidez ducked Canelo, which is, bro, if you're believing that bullshit, man, I don't know, bro. You guys just need a huge reality check, bro, and just get some fucking common sense, bro, because this is the stupidest thing that anybody could say in the boxing world, you know what I'm saying? Any true boxing fan knows damn well that David Benavidez is not ducking Canelo, right? And you know, IBFP Diddy, he came out with all types of dumbass excuses, bro, like nitpicking dumbass shit to try to convince himself and other people that David Benavidez ducked Canelo. Like right here, he's saying, why did David Benavidez need 2 or 3 weeks or whatever or an extension, right? When it's as simple as David Benavidez was on vacation at that time, bro, and he kept, you know, he had just got done fighting, he went on vacation and shit, and that's why he was taking those damn extensions, right? And even if that wasn't the case, and David Benavidez wanted to take an extension to maybe think more about what he was gonna do, because like I had told y'all in my last videos, bro, it just wasn't black and white. It wasn't just as easy as David saying, I'm gonna enforce my mandatory and then I automatically get the Canelo fight. It wasn't that, right? You know, the WBC, man, they put this unfair pressure on him to where they told him, look, if you stay at 168, you're gonna lose your interim belt at 175. Because yes, I know a lot of you guys are forgetting about this shit, right? David Benavidez had that interim belt at 175, and they used that as leverage. They used that shit against David Benavidez. That's what I'm trying to say, right? They pretty much told him, I think they set him up, bro, and it worked. I hate to say that shit. The WBC, they set David Benavidez up, and their plan worked, right? They had him go up there to 175 to get that interim belt, and as soon as he got that shit, they told him, look, you either stay at 175 and keep your interim belt, or you could come out here and push for this Canelo fight, and you're going to lose your interim belt at 175, and the Canelo fight is still not promised. And David was getting word that Canelo was never going to fight him, so he had to think about all of this shit, man, you know, but, you know, fucking idiots like IBFP Diddy, they come out here and they twist this narrative around and say just a bunch of nonsense. But look, let's get back into this shit.
You need to enforce your mandatory. You need to immediately say, I want Canelo, and if he don't want to fight me, I want his belt. Strip him.
Yeah, like it's that easy. Like the WBC is really going to strip Canelo, man. Come on.
That's what you need to say if you're David Benavidez. Because David Benavidez, make no mistake, you can't call Canelo Alvarez a duck if you don't enforce your mandatory.
Isn't that the stupidest thing ever, bro? This guy is constantly calling people ducks on YouTube, right? See, that duck word gets thrown around a lot. I don't throw it around too much, bro. But in this case, Canelo ducking David Benavidez, this is not just a duck. This is the biggest duck in boxing history, right? So I don't know how people could try to say that it's not, But this guy is out here saying that you can't say Canelo ducked you if you didn't enforce your mandatory or whatever. But he's over here calling all these other fighters ducks that ain't got shit to do with them enforcing a mandatory. And yes, you can call Canelo a duck regardless of the fact that David Benavidez enforced or is mandatory or not. Because like I just said, bro, this is not just a duck. It's the biggest duck move in the history of boxing, and it's just a pathetic ass move. And all of these people that go along with this shit that Canelo did, bro, y'all are just as pathetic as this fucking move that Canelo did.
And there you have it right there. Why didn't David enforce his mandatory? Why didn't David activate his mandatory? I'm sure you've heard those terms thrown around a lot in the last few years in the boxing streets. Usually, when a Canelo cultist is pressed about why Canelo Alvarez never fought David Benavidez, this argument often comes from a community that believes in unicorns, fairies, flat earth, and enforcing mandatories.
Didn't I tell y'all, bro, that these guys live in a fantasy land? See, I'm not lying when I tell you guys this shit, bro. These guys literally live in a fucking fantasy land, bro. And it's just the craziest thing ever how people could come out here and speak with no goddamn sense and just make themselves look bad, bro. You guys, see, this is what I don't get, bro. Like, you guys make yourselves look dumb as fuck, talking all of this nonsense, right? Living in this fantasy land. But you guys come out here and confidently talk that nonsense, bro. It's just tripped out to me, man, honestly.
All things that don't really exist in reality. Because Canelo dick riders don't live in reality. They live in an alternate reality.
Fantasy, bro.
Now, why didn't David enforce his mandatory? Why didn't David activate his mandatory? Great questions, and I'm very happy to answer them for you, you pencil-necked twerp. Because he couldn't. Newsflash, there is no such thing as a fighter enforcing a mandatory, you stupid prick. It's as real as unicorns, or you having a functioning brain.
And see, I had told you guys this shit a while back, bro. I had actually made a video about this shit, right? I told you guys that I went into the WBC rule book and I looked for supposedly this mandatory rule, and there is no such thing, man. There is no such thing as activating your mandatory. Where people came up with this shit, I have no idea, bro. This whole activating a mandatory, it's, if you guys really just stop to think about it and what you guys are saying that it's the boxer's job to make these fights, to mandate these fights. Well, no, it is not that, bro. What are these sanctioning bodies here for? You know what I'm saying? It's their job to make these fights, bro. Those are the guys that are ranking these fighters, and those are the guys that are supposed to mandate fights. Those are the guys that are supposed to enforce their rules about once you're ranked at a certain position, you're supposed to fight for the championship, right? But I told you guys this, at that WBC rule book, it doesn't say shit about activating a mandatory, but all of their fucking rules, all of the WBC rules in their rule book, they're followed by, unless we make a special exception or some shit, right? And this is the thing about Canelo, them and Canelo, right? They make all types of special exceptions for Canelo, so the rules don't really apply. But you will never find anything about activating mandatories in no WBC rule book, or I don't know about the other ones, because I looked into the WBC one, but no, there's no such thing as activating a mandatory. It's not the boxer's job to activate mandatories, it's the WBC's job to enforce these damn fights, man.
Pure fantasy. Now, I know your brain has probably seized up by this onslaught of reality, but take a deep breath and try to pay attention as you get educated with the facts you seem so allergic to. Let's think about it. If a fighter actually had the power to activate a mandatory and force a champion to fight them, it would be one of the most powerful tools in the sport. It would be career-altering, life-altering. The difference between staying a contender or becoming a world champion, it would be so significant you'd think it would surely be mentioned in a WBC rulebook. But guess what? It's not.
Ain't
Don't believe me? Go ahead, look for it.
look for
You
that
won't
shit.
find a single line in the WBC rules giving a fighter the right to activate a mandatory. It doesn't exist. It's a made-up concept. Like IBFP having a brain. A lie. Still don't believe me? Try finding a single example in boxing history where a fighter activated the mandatory status and forced the champion to fight them. You won't.
This guy speaks facts, bro. And see, this is why y'all make sure to go subscribe to this guy's channel, man. I want this guy's channel to get popping quick. And look, I'm gonna take this shit a little bit further, right? You guys go watch the rest of his. I'm gonna leave it right there because this video is getting kind of long, right? But go watch the rest of this guy's video, man. This shit is dope as hell. But look, I'm gonna take it a little bit further, right? Because you guys think that the WBC ain't protecting Canelo and that they don't bend and break rules and all of this other shit. Do you guys realize that Mauricio Suleiman came out here? I think he did this shit in Spanish, bro. In Spanish interviews. I don't know if he did this same shit in English, but I'm sure, I'm positive that he did this shit in Spanish because I heard this shit myself. You know, Mauricio Suleiman came out here and said something like, "Oh, it's a WBC rule that David Benavidez has to wait a whole year before becoming the mandatory." You know what I'm saying? Think about that shit, right? And he said that that's a WBC rule. This is another fucking lie, another excuse that he did to protect Canelo once again, right? So he said he's on an interview saying that it's in the rule books that David Benavidez has to wait a whole year. I think it was after fighting Caleb Plant or some shit like that. That he had to wait a whole year to become the mandatory, and that was in the rule book, right? This is what Mauricio Suleiman said. So tell me, how in the hell is it that David Benavidez jumped up to 175 and became the mandatory, and they came out here and they stripped Bivol in under a year? You know what I'm saying? Like, how long did David Benavidez have to wait to be the mandatory against Bivol at 175? Not too damn long, right? A couple of months. So how is it that at 168, all of a sudden, there was this year-long rule for Benavidez, and at 175, that rule went out the window? You know what I'm saying? And then you guys think that people are making shit up when they say that Mauricio Suleiman and the WBC protected Canelo, bro. This is just obvious as hell, man. And see, the fucked up thing is that a lot of you chumps, y'all go along with this shit because it benefits your guys' idol, your guys' man crush. You know what I'm saying? You guys are not really boxing fans. You guys are just crushing on Canelo and shit, right? And going along with all this bullshit without knowing that this shit is fucking up the real boxing fans. This shit is fucking up the sport, you know what I'm saying? The integrity of the sport. And us true boxing fans, we can't go along with that shit, right? And this is why we come out here and we expose your guys' man crush. You know, all of you Canelo lovers, bro, you guys are probably the worst thing that has ever happened to boxing, right? Because you guys go along with all of the bullshit. You guys don't care that people are breaking rules for your guys' man crush. And it's just pathetic at the end of the day, you know? But this is why we do this shit, man, because we love the sport of boxing, we're not over here just crushing on fucking Canelo, you know what I'm saying? And this is why we're passionate about exposing all of this bullshit, and yes, exposing fucking Canelo, because this is the fakest champion that I have ever seen personally, bro. I've been watching boxing forever, and Canelo is the fakest fucking champion, just a straight circus act, bro. And this is what boxing is turning into. And it's gotten to a point where people like me are kind of even tuning out of this shit, bro. This is why I don't really even be on my channel like that no more, because I'm tired of arguing with fucking idiots all day, bro, that just have no damn common sense, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, bro. I'm just glad that there's guys like this guy, Mr. Mirage. He's out here doing good work and exposing the shit out of all of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I made this shit long, bro. That's pretty much it for me, man. You guys make sure to go follow Mr. Mirage. Go check out this video. Go check out the rest of it. It's a dope as hell. He's got a lot of dope ass videos on there, but make sure to make sure to follow his channel, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it for me, man. You guys go ahead and leave me a comment. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll be on to the next one, man. I'm out.